Yeah, before we get to the meat and potatoes, we got some appetizer conversation for you. Listen, it's mainly sports, but there is a hot button racial issue that I want to talk to my comrade about.
Spears and Steinberg. You know what the it is? Aries and Andy, Jew and the jerk. You know it's time to get this work. The real raw, gutter, uncut, cold. No political corrections. Always sleep. Being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes. Scribe, we lit. There's levels to this. Before you was on your mama. Aries Spears don't give a fuck. We talk about race a lot, racism. Much love to my loyal bag holders, rollers, loaders. We got them in the folders. The whole world on our shoulders. Spears and Steinberg. Yeah.
Well, the good news, folks, is we can tell you right now that Mark's not gay. He definitely ain't no homosexual.
That doesn't mean he's not keeping his options open. Huh? That doesn't mean he's not keeping his options open.
Well, you know, you got to check his browser history. Yeah, before we get to the meat and potatoes, we got some appetizer conversation for you. Listen, it's mainly sports, but there is a hot button racial issue that I want to talk to my comrade about. How you doing?
Great.
Yeah?
Great.
All right. Mark, how you doing?
I'm good. What it is?
It's always the unexpected that gets you.
Yeah.
Dude's got the Matthew McConaughey backwards hat with the glasses on. All right.
Yeah, you're short one all right there, though.
Yeah, you were short one all right.
All right.
Yeah. So I think I kind of stepped in my own. You know, I had Instagram. I put out a post. First of all, there's straight anarchy going on in my city right now with the Knicks in New York. You people got to calm the down. I said,
why?
Well, no, I sent out a post and I said, listen, man, I'm a New Yorker, but I got to be honest. I don't think New York's going to beat. Nobody's beating OKC. I think Oklahoma City Thunder is taking the whole goddamn thing. And I don't even think they're going to get past Indiana, but there is anarchy in New York. They're acting like they won the championship.
OKC might not get into the NBA Finals.
Didn't they play last night?
I don't know.
Mark, I think they played last night. Check OKC.
I thought it was today they were playing, but I'm competing.
I thought it was last night.
I don't know.
Mark will tell us.
When I'm working, I'm not even paying attention.
Yeah. Or is that today? Oh, that's today? Yeah, they'll beat the Nuggets. But in any event,
but there's nothing saying that they're gonna beat the Nuggets. Then
I'm telling you,
it's 3-3.
I guarantee.
It's 3-3. There's no guarantees.
Trust me, they're gonna beat it. They're going all the way. I just feel it. Anyway,
I think New York's going all the way.
Really?
I'll be honest with you. I really
you think they're gonna get past Indiana?
I think they can. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy series. I think that it's a 7-game series, but if they want it and if they play like they want it, listen, they weren't supposed to get. I know that the Tatum got hurt, but before that last game where he got hurt at the end of the game, they were beating their ass. It wasn't like it's because of that they won. That game they won. Now you could still make an argument if they had the chance to win the whole series and Tatum was back, but they took 2 from Celtics.
Yeah, no, they gave it to them.
So I'm not, listen. We just did the whole thing on the Celtics. I kind of had a little, because we talked about the Celtics so much, we were really into that series. I had heart for the Celtics. I had some love for them, and I didn't think that this was New York's year yet. I thought next year, seeing what happens this next year, picking up somebody. I thought next year was the year, but they took it to them. And
they did.
And then Indiana's a good team, but are they a great team? This is the question: are they a great team?
Well, if nothing else, we get to relive the rivalry. That's the Pacers and the Knicks.
Yeah. I just hope we don't see any Spike Lee doing choke signs.
Listen, no, that was Reggie Miller that did that. Yeah, Reggie did that to Spike.
To Spike, but Spike was calling it some out. That's why
he was talking. Yeah. listen, man, if New York is acting like this now, if they win the championship, Batman is gonna have to restore order to Gotham City, man, because them is wildin'.
Dude, they've been waiting for something to go down for it's been a while.
They're assaulting people, dude. People wearing Celtics jerseys. Did you see the one where the one guy was walking
And they were chasing him around cars?
and they was throwing garbage bags on him? They showed another kid who had to have a police escort.
Yeah. Listen, that New York-Boston thing,
But New York and Boston's never had a rivalry.
Dude, when you go to the Yankees-Red Sox game,
That's baseball, not basketball.
I know, but it's the city rivalry. It's not just it's so innate in the bloodstream between Boston and New York.
Now we see who the animals are, kid. I'm telling you, without the cages, the chimpanzees and the silverbacks and the orangutans, they go crazy, kid.
It's gonna get wild, but they have to get, like you said, they have to get past Indiana. I just hope that listen, it's the basketball players that play the game, not the city, and the city's overhyped on this win. They should be excited about the win, but
this is not even the Eastern Conference Finals.
that's what I'm saying. They haven't won anything yet.
Jesus,
be excited. Be proud of your team, but don't go into like full-blown we won a championship mode here.
Dude, they showed one dude. Did you see the kid that was sitting on top of the what do you call it? At the garden, the big jumbo, the outside where the sign.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
He got up there. First of all, how did he get up there and he had slides on? How the did he get up there with slides?
I have no clue, man. They're not climbing slides. They're climbing slides. They're a special, unique brand of climbing slides.
Man, oh man, I'm and just like it's pure chaos, and I'm just like, come on, man, some dignity, man. We're acting. Look right there. Look at that. How the did he get up there?
Oh, he's white.
Oh yeah, white people, y'all get anywhere.
Well, you know what happens? White people see those videos like where they see the goats climbing up the mountains,
right?
Like goats climbing up. And they go, if a goat could climb up a mountain,
how the did he get up there?
You want to know why? He's white. He had keys.
Man, come on, man.
There was an elevator. He took the elevator up. He had the keys. Come on.
Yeah, that's just and then just calm down. I'm telling you, if they win it, man, the Rats gonna be having Tim's on, the Butters walking through the streets talking about, yeah, son, dead ass kid. They are wilding in New York, man. That is crazy.
Dude, it's been a while, but like
1973, right?
They need to calm down. Championship 73.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, but we're not even talking a champion. We're just talking about a win.
That is like animals. Oh, my God.
Dude, they're having a great time. There's no animal. Look at this. They're all look at all the love in the street. Look at all that love.
I know, but goddamn, dude. What's scary is that's now. So if they win the title, it's going to be pandemonium. Pandemonium.
They're not talking about the ownership anymore, though.
The ownership
of the Knicks. They're always complaining about the ownership of the Knicks.
Oh, well, I mean, there's no reason to complain right now.
Well, they're loud when they actually have, the players have said it, though. The players have said, ex-players are going, well, this kind of covers up a little bit of that.
Dude, I just can't, see, this is what I'm saying. I know I'm a dude, which means I know by the very fabric of who we are as men. Yes, I like sports, but to that level of insanity, flies in the camera, fuck it, nerd.
This is completely unnecessary.
That's just, what the is wrong with you, man? Get some.
But see, this is when I do that joke, and I haven't done it this week, and I should do it because now that I've seen this, this is where we're confused. They need to realize that they're basketball fans first and foremost. You can be tribal and be about your team, but you're NBA fans. And you got to be fans. You don't burn someone else's shirt. You don't have this great game without that rivalry. You don't burn their shirt.
Dude, listen, and this will bleed into the other NBA news, but as much as I love Jordan, nobody's going to make me act like that, man. I would feel stupid doing that, climbing a light post.
Of course you are, but you're not. How old was that kid, do you think? He was maybe 20, 18,
in
20?
In my 20s, that wasn't me.
Dude, in the 20s, you were already on a TV show. you. You were past the point of being impressed by someone doing something.
Man,
you were doing something.
Listen, dude.
Is this an old man or a young man?
I don't know, but grown up shouldn't be doing that. In other basketball news, now as excited as I should be about this, I got to tell you, I don't know why everybody's making such a big deal about Michael Jordan coming to NBC. Because my thing is, he's not playing. So why would that excite me? Him being a commentator. And he's not even known to have the personality of a Shaq or a Barkley. Michael's personality is not that explosive. His explosion is in them sneakers on the court. Why do I give a about him commentating?
I would love to hear him downplaying. Like, I kind of want it only because I want to see the downplaying. Like,
What is he going to bring to it?
well, I would love to see his take when they go, did you see that? That was a crossover? No. And he's going to have that same kind of attitude.
You know
towards
what?
it.
The only way that works is if he's talking the same way he did on Last Dance. That to me is the only way that works.
And I think that's a very good possibility because that's the only, that would be the part where, especially, this is the old heads talking now.
Right.
But, when you hear these athletic guys, these guys, and he goes, no one touched him.
Right.
He just went up and he put the ball in the, anybody could do that. Anybody could do that. Oh, you got to be able to do
I would have shut him down. Because he can't go left. I would have shut him down.
That
talk, motherfucker.
yeah, that would be.
But if he's just coming on to be like a regular pundit, where's the excitement in that? People are overblowing this going, oh, he's about to save the NBA again because the ratings are so down. Doing what?
The ratings are down is because the game. What's exciting about the Knicks, though? Here, let me go back and rewind just a bit.
Right.
They're playing basketball like basketball used to be played. Inside out,
Yeah.
pick and rolls, that wing game that's being played.
Yeah.
It's basketball. They're winning by playing basketball again. And it's going through the point guard. It's not this.
Jalen Brunson is a monster, dude.
Yeah. But you know what happens sometimes? What I don't like about Jalen Brunson
What's that?
is when we get into that fourth quarter, and we saw it in that game in the one that they did win in
Right.
at the Celtics won. They all stood around, and maybe it's because of the game, maybe it was because of the moment, maybe because that game they felt that was done and that was going to be not given, but the Celtics had taken that game, they won it, and they were going to go back home and win the game. That's fine, but there's a lot of standing around sometimes when Brunson it gets to that like last 5 minutes of the game.
Well, he's the closer.
Yeah, but you know what? If you don't move, how did the Bulls win some of their championships? That pass to Steve Kerr. You have to be moving. You have to have other offense. You can't.
Yeah, but there were times when Phil would have to tell him, hey, don't stand around and watch Michael.
Right.
Because he was so spectacular.
But that's what I'm saying about Brunson.
Right.
They're standing around at moments. And
'Cause
they're waiting.
he's so spectacular.
And they're waiting for him to take over and take that shot. You got to be moving. You got to open up other opportunities. Otherwise, they're going to collapse on Brunson, and you're going to put him in a position, and you're not moving. And how are you going to get that great pass from him? Moving towards the basket. That's the thing that's bothering me right now when I see that happening towards the end of the games. Can't get lax in that, and we got to realize that there's more games to go.
Right. I want to play 2 clips for you in regards to basketball. I know one of these you'll get a kick out of because it's from where you're from. But this first one, and this is why I am constantly this old man, get off my porch, because you youthful make me sick. Before I play these clips, let me say, I just saw this one clip from that, I think, what do they call it? Something Smoke, the basketball podcast with Matt
All the
Barnes.
Smoke.
All the Smoke. And Steven, what's his name? The other guy? Steven.
I'm going to forget his name right now.
It's called Up in Smoke. What is it called? All That Smoke.
All the Smoke.
Yeah, Matt Barnes and what's his name, Mark? Steven Jackson. Yeah. And they had on some young, I think he was a rapper or something. And basically he was saying, I know Jordan was the shit in the 90s, but do you think he would be the shit in today's league with all the young, more talented players and the game and the players have evolved? And they say, a lot of people say he averaged 50 and you couldn't touch him. He goes, yeah, but and then they show Jordan dunking on Barkley. And he goes, there's no way you could tell me that Jordan could do that to Draymond Green. Nigga, what? Draymond Green?
Listen,
Barkley is better than Draymond Green.
Not only is Barkley better, But we'll leave that up to discussion. Let you discuss as you will whether Barkley's better than Draymond Green, because I know people are going to have their own opinions. But Barkley was putting elbows in Jordan's throat when he was coming up for those. You can't do that today. That would be called, you would get a technical. I watched what they call technicals today. That wouldn't be anything. That wouldn't be a foul.
Michael Jordan had to go through Rick Mahorn and Bill Laimbeer. Draymond Green?
Dude.
When you can't touch now, are you crazy?
Dude, I don't think Rick Mahorn could play in the NBA today legally.
Right.
I think he has all the skills to play.
Right.
But when you hit Rick Mahorn, I don't care how big. You saw big players in the NBA when Rick Mahorn played, and when he stood his ground, people bounced off him.
Rick Mahorn and Bill Laimbeer were enforcers, bully enforcers, and Mike got through them. The youth make me sick. I hate the youth.
They just don't see it because it's not happening. But you know what? I wish they could do this easily. All they have to do is AI, put together a game, put Jordan on one of these games. The AI will tell you what was going to happen.
I don't trust it. I don't trust it.
It'll tell you what's going to happen.
So this first clip is from Magic Johnson. And I think he's addressing Ant-Man. And what he says is so true. Hold on, here we go.
Ain't nobody athletic. Ain't nobody athletic ever been in the league, and nobody could jump and all this. I'm like, whoa, what are you talking about? Don't attack all the old school guys when you haven't done your homework. First of all, there have been athletic guys. First of all, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Kobe. Dr. J. Yeah. Kobe. Clyde Drexler. Yeah. I can keep going.
Yeah, it's a
lot of guys. David Thompson, even before all of them, could walk in the air. And so, bruh, you slow down. And so I had to just hit him, like, look, man, talk to me when you want something. Because you
show respect. That's all. Just show respect.
I don't want to ever go at nobody. Right. That's not who I am. Right. But if you're going to attack us like, the game was not high flying and as exciting and so on and on, then I got to come back. So, but I'm still a fan.
Yeah,
and I still watch him. I just want to remind everybody, it's still about one thing, and that's winning.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Now, and this is the thing where I just don't understand. When they go, today's athletes are bigger, stronger, faster, jump higher. And those guys that they showed, what did you see that these athletes today are doing so much better?
Because they're saying that the defensive players weren't as athletic, and that's why they were able to get by them. Okay, let's say they're not. Let's grade them down. Let's grade them down 10% less. You could foul them 50% more. You could get it. You weren't going to get a foul call. These people had to go in the lane. I'm not saying I'm not agreeing with what I'm saying. I'm just saying the game has changed.
I'm going to send these clips to Anthony so he can put them on so that people can see them.
Listen, you talk about Michael going for 50 every game, whatever. I think Sean Kemp could go for. If the offense was wide open the way that it is today,
one of the most brutal dunkers ever.
I don't think you'd stop him on the
Clyde Drexler, Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah, and I understand that, but I'm just saying because of Kemp's size, his structure, his setup, you're not stopping him. You're not stopping. You listen. He had LeBron's body before LeBron got there.
That is insane. I often hear people go, DeMar DeRozan is Jordan today.
No.
Get the out of here.
I think I don't mind the Ant comparison as far as their physical game.
That's bananas, dude. Listen, I don't know a whole lot about John Thompson, but from what I just saw, that was vicious. The dunk, the airspace, the gliding. Oh my God, come on. The youth. I'm sorry,
but they're not familiar with it. You got to see it.
Well, shut the f- up.
You were the same way when we were talking about the old Celtics, and you were like, when we were talking about Bill Russell, and you were like, yeah, he's only one. And then you saw the game, you saw how they played, and you're like, you know what? There was great passing going on. There was a great game, and you saw how Russell played. And Russell played with that mentality. Russell did play with that mentality, but you were removed from it. So you got to give them a little bit of space to understand that they didn't see the game.
But that was the very beginning.
I understand, but I'm just saying. Pistol Pete, man, that guy gets no credit because there's no film. I mean, there's film, but there's not a lot of film. And this dude could pass his ass off. So people just don't. When you go back further, you just get further and further away, and you don't understand what made it incredible.
Let me go to this next one. Same vein. Because one of the things you constantly hear too is, when Michael Jordan played against who he played against, it wasn't elite competition. Who else? And they'll say like, take for instance the Suns when he played Barkley for the championship. Other than Barkley, who was there? So everybody else was garbage. It was Barkley. And then look at this, Kevin Johnson.
Kevin Johnson has is this the best dunk ever in the world?
Hold on, wait.
180. Kevin Johnson will cross you up, and if you sleep on him, he will dunk on you in a second, man. You see him catching a body right there. R.I.P. to my man Mark Edom, but you got dunked on right there, man. Robert Orr, you can get some too. Hot Rod Williams, he gave you a piggyback ride, man. That's crazy. And the Dream right here, the Dream had a nightmare that day, man. But prime Kevin Johnson was 22 points, 11 assists. He was a problem. We got to run that Dream one back, man. Yeah, that's definitely a nightmare.
It's one of the best
Come
dunks.
on, man.
One of the best dunks ever in game
Hakeem
time.
Olajuwon.
In game time.
Right.
This is not practice. This is game time. You talk about that though. They had the Matrix. The Matrix is what gives credit. They give credit.
No, Matrix wasn't on that team.
Wasn't on that team?
No.
He came afterwards.
Matrix played with Maury Stoudemire and Steve Nash. That was that trio.
I thought he was there at the same time. Okay, I'm off. I'm off. Sorry.
Way off.
See, I'm too old now. Too many. It's a mashup going on in my head.
And that's my boy too. Big shout out to Sean Marion.
What was I going to say? Who was the other guy you just said though?
Kevin Johnson
and the other dude,
Charles Barkley
and
Dan Marley.
Marley was.
People say he's one of the janitors that Jordan played against.
No, he wasn't a janitor. He didn't. He was Thunder Dan. He could dunk hard. He wasn't the most athletic guy. He was athletic. He wasn't the most athletic. He was a strong player though.
Right.
And this is what other people don't understand when they're looking at this. The NBA wasn't built on threes at the time, and this man could drain threes.
Right.
And they're missing all that was happening at that time. The Suns had really good players. They didn't win a championship, so I can't say that they had,
well, I mean, listen. When you go, they didn't win a championship against the biggest roadblock to a lot of motherfuckers' careers.
They lost that game that they should have won when they should have beat Houston when they're up 3-1, and they can't close Houston out, and then Houston comes back, wins that game, and then wins 2 more to win the championship. That's the biggest loss. That's the one that Barkley has to hurt because that one is just the most painful. You're up 3-1, you win in the series,
right? Yeah,
and
I didn't even know about that until him and Kenny talked about that on Inside the NBA.
I know about that very much so, and it hurts to this day because we thought we had it. And it was done. And
that was his best shot then.
No, that was his best shot.
Because against Michael, it just wasn't happening.
Right. But then they lost to Houston again the following year.
Damn.
So they couldn't get around Houston. That was the problem. But that being up 7 with what I don't remember how much time was up. But they had that game was in the bag.
The most I knew about KJ was that dunk on Olajuwon. I had no idea he was that spicy with the ball.
No. He was amazing.
Jesus.
He was amazing. And what was it? It was a night. I forgot the other dude. His his point guard was great. But the problem with KJ is, and this happened in a lot of teams because they didn't have big threes and they didn't have a bunch of players that the way they structured their teams, they didn't have like that dynamite player like a backup KG, and so when he would come, he would by the end of the year, he'd almost always have some kind of injury in his thigh, a hamstring injury or some injury that would always limit his ability, and that was the hardest part about watching him play because he'd play so at that time, and that's. They didn't take time off. They played every game. It's not this load management that they have now. they didn't have the same kind of salary cap. They didn't have as many players that you couldn't play 2 top-tier players at point guard. There was a fall-off between your next point guard.
Yeah.
And so he played tons of minutes. And then when we get into the finals or into the playoffs, he sometimes it just wasn't there. And that was unfortunate because there's other times when I thought that they had a shot.
Boy, I'm telling you, they need to. I could watch Vernon Maxwell talk That's a motherfucker that need to be on TV, even though he would be censored, so you couldn't really get the full potency of what his personality is. But I saw a clip where he was again on the Matt Barnes thing, and he was like, "Man, that Shaq, man." I mean, one time they asked him out, who's somebody that you really fought or wanted to fight? He go, one time I go into a pick, man, and Shaq said something. And I turned, I said, hey, big fella, motherfucker, what you said to me, motherfucker? And Shaq said, I'm going to see you after the game. Oh, so Shaq said something to him, and he told Shaq, after the game, man, after the game, I'm going to see you. And he said, and this thing he goes, so after the game, man, I'm walking back and forth there, that they locker room, and I had that tool on me. He said, I had that tool on me, man. And I had that thing on me, and I was waiting for Shaq. And I said, them motherfuckers, man, I'm in with that tool, man. I could listen to that talk all day. He's so entertaining.
He should. No, I'll say it some other time. It's just I just think that there needs to be a show where people can get a little bit more real on the show.
Well, I mean, that's what the podcasts are for, right?
Yeah, but I think that a mainstream show that opened up the window a little bit more. Yes, the podcast
it'd have to be on HBO or something.
Yeah, it'd have to be on HBO.
Yeah.
But I would love a show like that.
Oh God.
And a podcast, there's only it depends how much of stupid. Could you imagine if you had NBC dollars to bring people out, and you had 15 guys, and they came out and they're just in. It would be different. It would just be different to have that kind of.
Speaking of again in sports, I saw the thing, and then you mentioned it to me last night. This Madden movie with Nick Cage and Christian Bale as the Raiders owner.
Yeah, yeah. I can't remember his name right now either.
Of course you can't.
I took my little memory pills.
And it ain't doing shit for you.
It ain't working right now. What's his fucking name?
I saw where he put on a weight Cage to do this. I can't escape that face, man. This Cage has specific eyes and nose. He got this Scottie Pippen nose where it's like an arrow that points down. And then his eyes are so specific. I can't. It's hard for me to buy into him as somebody.
If his voice is even close to his regular voice, it's going to ruin it for me, man.
Her down by the 50. First and down. Right. I was thinking the Cage. But listen, that's why when they flirted with the idea of him playing Superman, I said no way.
Then it didn't happen.
Yeah, Nick Cage there's something in the eyes and nose. It's too familiar and too specific. No. I'm looking at the pictures of real Madden, and I don't see it.
What's the owner's name of Madden? What's the former owner of the Raiders?
Al Davis?
Yeah, that's what it is.
There you go.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Well, good. Thank you. Yeah, but I think he looks great playing Al Davis.
Yeah, but okay, yeah. I mean, listen, Christian Bale is a great character actor. He
he pulls off people that you can't even believe.
When he played what you call his brother in the Ricky Hatton. Was it Ricky Hatton? No, that's
the boxer.
No, Ricky Hatton's the English dude.
Yeah, the boxer.
Mickey Ward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did great. But look at him right there. That's solid.
Yeah.
You're right, though, but when you look at Madden, I kind of feel the Madden thing, but the face.
Yeah, it's Nick Cage. That's Nick Cage.
But that's why he's famous, because he's Nick Cage.
He's famous when he makes movies where he ain't playing nobody. You know what I mean?
I'm excited to see it, because if the voice isn't there and his acting's there.
I don't think the voice is going to be there.
I think it's going to be amazing. How can you not? You have to have the voice right.
They should have got Frank Caliendo.
It would have been funny if they would have got Frank. But Frank would have had to lose weight.
No, he would have had to gain weight. Frank's lost weight.
Oh, has he?
Oh, yeah.
For early Madden, he's thin. Madden's not thin, but he's not the Madden that.
Boom, and that's football.
Yeah, it's not that guy.
All right, before we get to the meat and potatoes, there's something I wanted to switch it to something racial now. Black fatigue. You've heard of it?
Yeah.
I want to get your take on it, but I want to play this clip first because for those of you who don't know, I'm sure most of you do, this has become a hashtag on the internet where apparently white people have black fatigue, where they're tired of all the nigga shenanigans. And there's some black people that say they have black fatigue because they're tired of nigga shenanigans. But of course, the thing has been that this girl, this clip I'm gonna play, she explains it, capulates it the best. Because what it really is, long story short, is just a way for white people to hide their racism, because it's really white rage. But I don't want to f this up, so I'm gonna play this from this chick because she really nails it.
White people attempting to rebrand white rage by co-opting the term black fatigue as though it's a phenomenon they actually experience but only recently found the language to talk about is both dystopianly weird and tragically on brand. The copying, the whitewashing, the centering themselves by playing victim. But what's ironically telling about it is that the concept of racial battle fatigue is not new. It's been around for decades. And the term black fatigue has been used by black people for quite a while. Mary Frances Winters wrote a book that came out in 2020 titled Black Fatigue, and it describes the mental, emotional, and physical exhaustion that black people experience because of systemic racism. Now, notice how black people didn't call that white fatigue, because the purpose is not to assign blame in order to justify bad behavior. It is called black fatigue because it is a harm that black people experience, and so their focus is on addressing and combating that harm. Whereas when white people talk about experiencing black fatigue, they are not talking about a harm that they experience because of black people or anybody else. They are literally telling on their own inability to live in society with black people. And that's not new either. That's a pathology that has existed for hundreds of years, but call it what it is, white rage.
See, when you brought up black fatigue, I understood it from the standpoint of...
And by the way, that lady she talked about, the author, that was a black woman that wrote that book, Black Fatigue.
Yeah, because that's what I understood it from.
Right.
Black fatigue is black people being frustrated with.
Yes.
So
Is there something you can take to cure black fatigue?
You said what?
Is there something, every time I hear it, but it's like, do you experience black fatigue?
Like
there should be something you take for it.
Oh, like a commercial or something, like a pill. Yeah, we did a skit on Mad TV called Saul, and it was to help white people's fear of black people. So you just pop 2 Negrosols, and you're not afraid anymore. But you were going to say what?
No, because, well, one is I'm taking it seriously, and I appreciate the joke about it, but like I said, I was going, when you said black fatigue, I thought it was the other way around, not the way that she described it. I have what I think is media fatigue.
Uh-oh. And what is that?
Well, media fatigue is where the media feeds every negative aspect culturally that we could possibly put out there on everybody. And this is, and I mean throughout everything, because I think about this from when you were a kid, from when I was a kid. I don't know how when you were a kid, but I was talking to someone about this the other day. We used to go outside. We used to go play. We used to go do. Parents don't let kids go out and play the same way they used to because they know every bad thing that's happening today. Like when you go outside, you know everything. The parents are listening to the news, and we don't get news. We used to get local news. You remember the news used to come on at 6 and 10 or 5 and 10, and that was the news. The world news wasn't really creeping in. You get the headlines, you get the paper. But I didn't know I didn't know who was getting shot, who was getting murdered at every single city. I didn't know the numbers, the counts, the same way. I wouldn't let my kids. I used to go play in the desert. Like I used to ride my bike into the desert. We'd build forts. We'd hang out all day. We wouldn't come home until it got dark. You think parents let that shit happen today?
Well, kids are pussies too, though.
I'm not, but kids are made to be pussies. We're born to be going outside and breaking
They're
our
not
bones.
built 80s tough. That T-shirt is coming.
But what I'm saying is, I see that we broadcast the negative parts, and no one wants to see about someone giving out daisies and making people feel good. They want to see the bad. That's what the media does. It shows everything bad.
Okay, but
I have media fatigue. I feel like we should all hate each other.
But the media is doing its job in the sense that it does exist. So they're reporting what exists.
It does exist, but there's other things that they don't report. Listen, when you want to go to her point, systemic racism and how that plays its part. But I could see black fatigue and I could see white fatigue, and you can put it any direction you want to. When you say this, you're talking about cities where you talk about your 13% of the population being black, right? But in New York, is it 13% of the population? In Atlanta, is it 13% of the population? In other cities, the tension that grows between races also happens to be based on how much contact or how little contact there is. There is a lot more to this than this story, but I believe that the media takes the opportunity to capture, to get people to look at it and to put it in rage. We have not, I'm telling you, when we were kids, when me and you were kids, and you're a little older than me, but when we were kids.
You're older than me.
I'm sorry, I'm older than you, but when we were kids, and it maybe doesn't affect you the same way, it didn't affect me the same way. We all hung out. We didn't, now, yes, there was areas that were segregated, and maybe we didn't, but when we mixed, like I lived by the Air Force Base, we all mixed. We all hung out together. There was sometimes that some funny shit got said because family differences and things that families taught each other, and we as kids we would learn that. And we thought it was funny because we would hear something our parents would say, and then we would say, hey, and then, we'd have those conversations. And as kids, I thought we were moving in a different direction. And it doesn't, it starts, I believe, when we're young. I mean, if we mix when we're young, do we grow up and mixed? But if we don't, because they do this kind of shit, we're not going to grow.
But do you think that white people saying that they have black fatigue is like, how dare you?
No, I think.
Do you agree with what she's saying about it's just a mask for,
I think it's a mask because white people don't know how to. We were talking about this the other day. I think it's a mask that white people don't know how to actually say some. If they don't listen, I've been on a plane, and I've been on a plane where some black folks had up some, and not one white person was going to say. And it's a full plane of white people who had to take control of the situation. A black woman. It's always the woman. It's never the dude. It's always the black woman. And she said, "Nope, this ain't gonna work." And she went. She got the people, and she got that fixed.
Right.
White people, the fatigue is. I don't think that they know how to talk to anybody. I talk to you about this when we go to certain comedy clubs. There's comedy clubs that are in black areas, and so the staff is black, but the manager's white. The manager never gets anything accomplished because he doesn't know how to talk to black people. Culturally, he's inept to be able to have a communication with them and actually get things done. I think there's a disconnect, and I think they're using the word fatigue. I would say that there's a communication issue that we have between each other right now, and I think white people can't be. I think white people can be honest. I don't think black people are sitting there going, "Oh, you don't say anything to me."
It'd be. I don't know if naive is the right word, but let's just say it would be naive of me, I guess, if that's the right word, to think that there aren't some white people who are absolutely hiding behind that because what it really is their own prejudices. But I'd also be wrong to go, no, I think that there are some white people, too, that are tired of shenanigans. And that's understandable because I'm tired of nigga shenanigans.
Yeah, but okay.
I get it. But I get it to a degree.
Yeah, but when you say that, hiding behind it, listen, white people, the white power people, the white racist people, they don't have any problem saying how they feel about shit. So,
but there are some that are that are racist, but don't want to be called that, or don't want to seem like they are that. So anything that they could use as a mask to not be who they really are, they take that opportunity.
They're ignorant bigots. They're not racists. A racist has to be able to hold you back. Those people aren't holding anybody back.
Okay, well, I know what you mean from the technical term, but racist, whether you're a racist or you're a bigot, you ain't got no love for me. So I don't care what you call yourself.
Well, let me. I hate to use a television show to do this, but Archie Bunker's a bigot. Do you think that he didn't have any love for the black people that were in that imaginary community? And I think that's the point.
No, he didn't.
He did. He definitely. He liked Lionel. He liked Lionel a lot. He liked the Jeffersons, but he was also scared. You know what? And I think that's
So he was racism light.
no. He was a bigot. He was a bigot, and
He was diet racist.
he was. You know, you have to define your term of what racist is, and I have to define it by saying what it truly means. We use it lightly, but it isn't the same thing. Racism is someone who has the ability to put roadblocks in front of you and stop you from moving forward. Bigot is someone who lives next door to you and just doesn't like you because they don't know you, and culturally they're not able to connect, and they have a problem with you. Because if we do it that way, and we say the technical thing is that the reason you have to define this, as I think you have to define it this way, is because the other side of this saying is black people can't be racist because black people can't affect white people's lives. Okay, so you can't be racist, but then you can be bigoted. And if you can be bigoted, then white people can be bigoted. White people can be racist. But if you're not going to allow white people, there are white people that are just bigoted. It's not to hold back. It's not to. It's sometimes it's just from not having working knowledge. I think there's people. If you grow up in a town where it is less than 13%, if the number is 13% black in this country. And we know I named a few cities, but we know L.A. has I don't know what the percentage there, but it's not 13%. New York isn't 13%. Chicago is. So where these smaller cities, it's a small number. And if there's no communication, if there's no contact, how do you interact? And I'm not calling that for a pass. I'm just saying there's just some reality to this.
Yeah, to me it's it's a 50-50 for me. It's like I get it. Again, I don't want to sit here and go, when I feel like strongly about something that I go, that's what it is. I'm gonna say that's what it is, but it's hard for me to argue on this one. You know what I mean? Because I know that there are some white people that are bigoted and they just have an opportunity now to go, yeah, I'm tired of black folks. I have fatigue on you. Well, that's because you really don't love us. But I think there's some legit. Damn, you niggas, boy.
Yeah, but that's the same thing as
because we can't say the N-word. That's why we can't describe how we feel. So we just say black, but we don't mean black. We mean N-words.
You got fatigue.
Yes.
You know what?
That's what you're saying.
I'm going to be honest. That actually made the most amount of sense out of anything we just said right now.
Listen, I told you, shenanigans, man.
Yes.
Take that bonnet off your head when you take your ass in public.
No, that doesn't.
Pull your pants up when you in public. Stop stealing out of the goddamn Targets in the stores.
Dude, but the problem with that is, and with what you're saying, and I agree, but white people do the same shit. They just don't get called out on it the same way. White people were in those stores.
They got white trash, Karen, those kind of stereotypes.
Karen doesn't really exist. That's something that is just it's a funny.
Like, I'm gonna tell you something, I get such joy from watching these on TikTok. But there's the clips where the police is trying to tell a black person in the car, hey, turn off your car, let me see your driver's license registration. Or the black person did something wrong. They ran a light, they were speeding, they were in the wrong. And the cop is doing everything by the book. You know what I'm saying? Trying to tell them, hey, we just ran your there was this one girl, hey, ran a license plate, you have warrants. So police step out of the car, and I mean, just the most ghettoest, rude type. I ain't gonna do this, and you going and just giving the cop shit. So finally the cop has to physically yank their ass out, put them to the ground, and put cuffs on them. Listen, man, I'm the last person that's gonna sit here and act like the cops are saints. But there's a certain point where you gotta go, do you think you talking to the cop with that much lip and attitude helps you? He's doing everything by the book. He's telling you to cooperate, and you're not doing that. You're giving him lip. You're giving him attitude. You're basically daring him to put his hands on you and arrest you. And you just ran a light. You're speeding. You got warrants. There's a certain point where I can't sympathize with you.
But when you're also being told that you're being targeted and that no one else, that this is the police have pulled you over because of, this is where, like what you just said, you broke the law, you have warrants, you have these things. At that moment, you're not being targeted anymore.
It's your fault.
And I've said this before, and I said that's the rule of criminals. You can only break one law at a time. If you break more than one law, you raise your chances of getting caught. You break two at a time, you got a really good chance. You break three, so if you're driving, you don't have a license, it's suspended, and you have a warrant. You're breaking that's two laws.
And you ran a light.
That's three laws. You're going to get caught. I'm not trying to tell people how not to get caught. What I'm saying is, if you have a suspended license and you also have a warrant, the key is don't drive. When you do drive, the only chance you have of having that work out for you
is obey the laws.
And just pull out your license, give them what you have, and go, yep, I f***ed up, and go with it, because that's the easiest way. And again, that's from a white perspective. I don't know how hard it is to be black and surrender and see if it still stays that same way. But I know there's a better chance of it staying that way.
Yeah.
But I've run up against some cops, me personally, that I've had some serious hard times with.
Shootouts and everything.
No, not shootouts, but they were in a bad mood. But this is the problem, and this is the problem with policing. There's a lot of power in policing, and we all have a bad day.
Sometimes it's just absolutely our fault.
Sometimes it might be your fault, but you might be having this attitude because of whatever, and this guy had a bad day. Now, that makes it even worse.
I'm not having an attitude with a gun.
You know what, though? Listen, that gun shouldn't come out a lot of times, and it does.
Okay.
And so I get why people, especially in the black community, especially when you see it, and again, this is the media loves to stoke this even more. Listen, did you see the video in Tempe where the black dude is being taken out of the car in Tempe, and they're trying to say, no, you're under arrest, and he goes, no, and he gets back in this car, and he's between two cars, and he's backing up and forward, beating the shit out of these two cars. They're like, tase him, and they tase him, and he drives away.
Yeah.
How many times has that been on TV?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying that people shouldn't be held accountable for what they do when they do it wrong, but how come that isn't TV? Black guy gets away today. Police only use tasers and do their job to the best of their ability. Yay for the police! Did that one come out? Is that one all over the news? This is why I say media fatigue.
Yeah.
They want us to stay on each other's throats because they can do whatever they want. And this is why I'm saying it's your NBA players. You like NBA, you like basketball. That's why you're there, because you like basketball. And the tribal part is separate, but you like basketball. That's why you go to the games. The rivalries make the game better. You don't realize that the players are the different people. They go out and you fight with people out in the crowd. You chase people. You burn their jerseys. You know what happens after that basketball game? The players,
they go to dinner.
They go to dinner, but they also exchange jerseys. They don't burn each other's jerseys. They take each other's jerseys off and exchange them, hang them on their walls, put them in their closets, have friendships with those people. So while you're being an idiot burning someone's jersey, the team that you were rooting for traded his jersey with the team that you're burning. This is why we're mental. This is why we don't get along. This is why we're f***ed up. This is why we're overly tribal, and that tribalism allows people to maneuver and get what they want out of us.
Do you think sometimes they suck each other after?
Why do you have to go?
I'm just saying they're talking trash on the court.
This is why everybody.
Fuck you.
This is why everybody thinks This is why everybody thinks you're sucking when you're not on the show.
This was getting way too serious there.
No, it wasn't. What's serious is one of these days we're going to walk into a room. Is Mark in there? And you could be fine, and you go, "Well, I was just seeing if they suck sometimes."
All right, for the 12 minutes we got left.
That's 3 minutes per person.
For who?
For this, what we got left. We have 12 minutes. We got 3 minutes per person.
No, take your ass back over there. It's supposed to be 1, 2, 3, not 1, 2 back to 1. Did you see that? That was fucking great.
He was pissed.
Ernie lost it.
Yeah, and he was pissed. He loved that Shaq was that
Yeah,
pissed.
yeah. All right, Mr. Sensitive. Hey, no, ain't nobody sensitive. You do that shit again, I'm hit you with this metal can. It's supposed to be 1, 2, 3, not 1, 2 back to 1.
But I like how when Ernie started laughing, and we're just jumping into this now, because
Yeah.
when Ernie started laughing, it actually broke the tension where Shaq actually started laughing at himself,
yeah,
too,
yeah,
because
yeah,
he realized
he was really mad.
Yeah.
Dude, you know, man, you say to yourself, it's just a name change, right? Like if they're done with TNT and they're going to ESPN next year, it's just a different network. But I'm scared something's gonna be different.
You know what it is? Notes. It's
From
not-
the
Yeah, because right now
Oh,
they've been able to do whatever they wanted, any way they want it. And there's a very important part where they want Charles to apologize. He comes out, he does no apology, and they said, "Well, we really want him to apologize."
If y'all don't like what I say, turn your TV off.
And-
but I'm not gonna apologize to big old women in San Antonio.
And by him doing that, they said, "Well, if you have him apologize for this, are you going to have him? How many times a week do you think
Right,
you're going to have to
right,
apologize?"
right.
And that's what the show is. And if you don't like it, so this is what I'm worried about, and this is why I'm going to go back to what you said at the beginning: Michael Jordan coming to NBC. This is the opportunity. This is the opportunity. Sneak in, because what's going to happen now? Jordan's going to pull people in, and they're going to be on NBC. And if NBC has a great show, and ESPN fucks with that show, this is where this could be a bigger deal than what we're seeing, because this is it right there. And you know what? You used to be on the Best Damn Sports Show.
Yeah.
That was Sally. That was Sally.
yeah.
And you know, who knows who else they're going to get? Are they going to pull some people from that show? Because that was a good show. It just didn't get. It didn't get to that same place. So as we watch this, what is it? KT is the guy that's the director that really let this flow happen and let it continue to happen. Ernie didn't get a lot of room because Ernie was just Ernie.
Yeah.
But Ernie was very, very capable. And then you bring Kenny in, and Kenny and Ernie, then they figured that out. But when they brought Barkley in, there could have been a lot. You think about it. This KT dude could have been. He came from. I think he came. Did he come from ESPN?
I can't remember.
I know that he came from a bigger studio. He could have been like, yeah, but we got to rein Charles in a little bit. We can't have him. And he didn't. His thing was, no, go crazier. Let's go.
I like how he broke it down when he went, when it was just Ernie, it was a good show. Then when we got Kenny, it was a great show. Then when we got Barkley, it was great television. And then when we got Shaq, it became legendary. And like there really was a progression with each piece. And what I thought was interesting too was when they talked about, when Shaq first came, wasn't great because he was doing too much. He had to calm down.
Do you think that Barkley took a little extra fun in getting to sit when they're sitting around the breakfast, and he goes, "Yeah, man, you might not know this, but after 2 weeks, we were going to fire you." Because he didn't say you were going to get fired. He said, we were going to fire you.
You know what I loved? When they showed how Shaq in the beginning, especially when they showed the moment where he was telling them,
sing the
Jingle Bells. And you cut to Kenny and Chuck, and they're not kissing his ass, dude. They're like, why are we doing this? This is stupid.
Not only, because they were like, this makes no sense. What are you trying to do here?
But they didn't let Shaq force them into something that they knew wasn't right.
Right.
And I love that they stood their ground on that. But that's Barkley. That's who Barkley is. Like, motherfucker, Barkley he cuts to the chase. He don't bite his tongue. He says what's on his mind. I love that. I love that they didn't fold to Shaq's stupidity.
Yeah, but when we go through this with Shaq and with Barkley, obviously, this whole thing, but the greatest moment, the one that lives on the most, is the complete most accidental moment, which is Barkley running to the screen and falling down.
Shaq.
Shaq falling down.
Yeah.
But it's just an accident. I mean, that's why I'm saying.
But Shaq likes that silly.
Yeah, but that wasn't intended to be that way. But he probably played it up more, though.
Yeah,
he laid on the ground.
I'm sure.
You're right, because if it didn't happen to him and the way that it happened, it might not have been as funny. It would have just been someone falling. But the whole show, not cutting to commercial, not doing anything. There's something about that whole team that makes this work. It's going to be. I'm like nervous for it to go to
Yeah,
ESPN.
I am too, because I just have, and I'm going. It's just a different network. You got the same 4 guys. What would be different? But yeah, when the suits get a hold of shit, man.
You know what? There's a few moments that really hit me. Shaq talking about Kobe.
Oh yeah, man.
That one, I teared up.
Oh, I did too.
But there was a moment, and it was so quick and so subtle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you caught it, but when they're talking to Ernie, and he talks about now I'm going to forget his fucking name.
Craig Sager.
Craig Sager.
Yeah.
And he just goes, and it was just such a slight moment.
Let me see if I know what you're gonna say, because we went basically. How is it that I lived and you died?
Basically, when he goes, yeah, I don't know how it worked out for me, but didn't work out for
you.
you. But in many ways, though, Craig Sager has the desk, and Ernie's out on the field, and they switch it, and Ernie's now on the desk. Sager's goes out into the.
Right.
He's on the court. You get in the interviews, and Sager embraced it, man, with the suits and the whole thing.
Right.
And I loved him. I thought he was so like he added like some kind of weird flavor to the whole thing, and then. Ernie gets the cancer. Ernie survives. Craig gets the cancer.
He dies.
He dies. And I almost saw that, like, survivor's remorse in Ernie. Like, where he's like, but how?
If that's not the truest definition of life ain't fair.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious, yo? Come on, man. That's nuts.
Did you felt it though when that?
Yeah, you know what? I really felt it. The Stuart Scott moment with his daughters.
Yeah,
when he gives the award to his daughters.
Yeah,
yeah.
And Stuart Scott, that's someone
he kind of revolutionized, because he kind of brought like I don't want to say a hip hop feel to it, but he brought some to
cool as the other side of the pillow.
Yeah.
That was
he did the mookie.
Yeah, without him, I mean, first it was the football dude from ESPN. He started with ESPN. What's his name?
I don't remember his name.
Can you look up the first broadcast?
Black?
No.
Yeah, the black guy.
No, white dude. No, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the white dude who started with ESPN for football. Shit. Look up football ESPN first, whatever. You put something in there. Do your thing.
Type it. Just like he said it, football first, whatever.
Yeah, football first ESPN dude. He came, and then he kind of like he's the one who was going. He would go. He's going back.
Chris.
Chris, what?
Borman.
Is it? He could go all the
No way.
way.
Yeah.
That dude, Chris Berman.
Berman. He started that on ESPN, and he made ESPN a little bit cooler. That's what happened.
Yeah.
But then when Stuart Scott got there and he took it up that other notch, that was the next level. And Stuart Scott could have been someone I think who could have played off other athletes like Ernie does, and he could have done a great job in that same atmosphere.
Yeah.
So very interesting. That was really but when he does give him the award, I don't know. But Barkley, also about awards, when Barkley had his the direct, is she a director? No, I forgot.
Yeah. And he said he wanted her to accept the award for him so that people on TV could see that they had a black woman in a powerful position.
And I thought that was like, because I know Barkley speaks up on issues.
Yeah.
But you don't think of, I don't know why. And because Barkley's such a character, I don't think of him as that clever.
Not only clever, but he's just down to earth, a good guy.
Yeah, but that's a very clever move. That's where that's something that you do that no one sees. It makes a difference. And that's what I mean by being clever. He did it, and he makes this move where you feel it, but you don't even understand why.
Only Barkley could do that, and in the same breath on the show go, and again, it was a throwaway. I've been arrested 7 times for punching out fans.
The one that they didn't put in there that I wish they would have is, when he's banging you.
When a guy is banging you, and you got to feel their body, because those. Come on, man.
But Shaq and Kenny are dying, and they didn't do the wheelchair either.
No, they didn't. They should have put those in
like a
top 5 moments.
Shaq. They should have been Shaq.
Shaq and the Fool.
Shaq and the Fools. They should have been those little moments.
Nah, they should have been their own separate top 5.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that could have been. That
What are you laughing at, Chuck? Sir? Shaq crumbling papers. Kenny, why are you doing this? Oh my God, man.
Those are the best.
I want to sit on the monster. Oh my God. Oh, dude, I wish they did more of those. I love when they did the cartoons.
Yeah. And they showed that being done, which I thought was really cool.
Right.
But you know what?
Police presence.
What I thought was what I thought was really cool though too, and just as a comic, the dude who does the little videos, and he had Barkley doing the dance, the mic,
Underdog.
Underdog,
Yeah.
and then they go to SNL and they meet what's the big time producer's name at SNL?
Lorne Michaels.
And Lorne Michaels goes, that was very funny, you know. That would be a nice little,
You know that SNL shit pissed me off.
Why?
Come on, man.
Come on, why?
Listen, it comes to a point where you got to fake it, right?
Yeah.
And they're faking it. Like Jay Farrell doing Shaq and Kenan Thompson doing Barkley. I don't give a what you say. I guess this is part of my makeup. I run them in the ground. I run circles around them, man. And Barkley and Shaq have to pretend like that is dope. Like I said, when Shaq was on Drink Champs, they couldn't even get all the names out. Shaq, who does the best impression of you? Kevin Hart, Aries Spears. Aries Spears, Aries is the number one. He's the best. When they aired the clip on, I told you, I don't think I ever told you the story. I was at home, I was in bed, I'm watching Inside the NBA on TNT, and they did the EJ's Stat of the Night, and they showed the clip where I was on ESPN, and I did a bunch of impressions, and I did Barkley. And I didn't know this was going to happen. I was just watching TNT. And they cut to Charles. He was like, man, that's very impressive. I'm going to tell Aries, that is very impressive. And I was like, oh! I was losing it because I didn't expect the clip. And then for Charles Barkley to say my name, I was losing it. I'm like, so I'm watching this and I'm going, SNL.
But it wasn't about who did the impression. That was them being on SNL, Charles being asked to be on it 4 times. You're making this about you. This is your ego.
Right.
This is your ego.
Goddamn
This is
right.
about SNL, not about.
Hey man, I'm just saying the best. I'm talking about the best. You got some do this half-ass in front of these dudes, and they acting like that is dope when they know who the best is.
I do think you're.
I'm the best. Oh,
Farrell doesn't suck though.
What?
He doesn't suck. He doesn't suck.
He. Here's what I've always said. He exaggerates the Shaq face. He does.
Yeah.
And Shaq hates that. One time Shaq said after dude left, he goes, I'm not cross-eyed. Why I'm not cross-eyed. I mean, I exaggerated a little bit.
Yeah, but you do it with the one.
Yeah, with the one. Didn't nigga. Out of here, man.
I get what you're saying, but it was about SNL. Lorne Michaels gave the dude credit. Listen, Underdog is never going to get credit from the comedy community the same way that he did from Lorne Michaels. Come on, man, that's a hard moment. You don't think so?
Yeah.
Have you ever met Lorne Michaels?
No, I saw him. I was actually walking through what do they call it? Rockefeller Center.
Yeah.
And Conan is where they shoot Conan. At the time, and when I was doing Conan, I rode in the elevator with him. I didn't say nothing, but I wanted so bad to start auditioning right there in front of him in the elevator. But no, I didn't say nothing to him.
Do you think you could still get on SNL?
I don't know, I don't know.
He would be
It would be like the oldest new person ever.
Yeah, because up until this point, it was
It's just all young people.
no. What's her face? Was just left it.
Even if I were to
What's
get
your
on
name?
it, I'm not gonna front. I would be, excited and happy about it. But for me, it was like the dream was I because the dude died, but I would want to be on SNL and hear Aries Spears, the announcer.
Yeah.
But that dude died, so.
But was there ever any crossover though? Was there? There's never been a Mad TV person that went to
What
SNL.
was his
there?
name? Jeff something.
He crossed over.
Jeff was on Mad TV, but he only did Mad for like a season,
And
and
no
I
one
think that's
from-
why Lauren took him
No one from Fridays ever crossed over.
from Friday.
Fridays.
What is Fridays?
It's another show.
I never heard of that.
It's a sketch show. It wasn't live.
Oh
Were you live? Matt? Was Matt live?
no,
It was tape. Okay,
yeah,
tape.
yeah. We would alternate between studio audience on one week, and then the next week we do pre-tapes, stuff that took too long to do in front of an audience. And again, man, I remember when Shaq did Mad TV. Shaq loves to be abused, physically abused, because we did the skit where we're all like prisoners in jail, and it's this we're passing these notes or something, and we all got our trays, and we were like in a prison cafeteria, and Shaq just goes, "Hey, Aries hit me in the head with the meatloaf." I had to take my meatloaf and smack him in the head.
But that's it, like the Christmas tree.
Yeah, he likes that
He
shit.
He's a Three Stooges guy. I bet you
Yeah.
anything you asked him, you'd say, yeah, Three Stooges, all that physical comedy, Laurel and Hardy, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like I said, man, I just the way that show has captured the chemistry of those four dudes, and it's like everybody is perfect in their role. And I'm gonna tell you, every time it's appointment television for me. Like when I'm done playing my video game or whatever, and I'm getting ready to call it a night, I go out and get my Del Taco or whatever I'm gonna eat. I get into bed and I get ready to watch Inside the NBA on TNT, and nothing irks me more than when they're not all together. I'll turn it on some nights and it's like Shaq's missed the show, or Barkley's not there, and they replace him with Dwayne Wade or Jalen Rose or Candace Owen, not Candace Owen, the one chick that played in the NBA, the real pretty one. I forget what her name is. Vince Carter.
Is there anybody? I know we're going long, but I got to ask.
I'm pretty much done.
Is there anybody that? We talked about this a little bit, though. Is there anybody that's been in the NBA that we think could have been on the show or should have been on the show, or that if they have to replace someone, that's who they should bring on?
John Sally.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, Jalen Rose is not bad. Big shout out to Jalen. That's my boy, too. When Jalen first... Oh, you saw... I got his jersey in my theater room because he played with the Nuggets when he first got to the league. And I remember... what was I going to say? What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, when Jalen... Because he used to be managed by Norm, my manager at the time. And I remember he rented a house in the Hollywood Hills, and all he liked to do was play NBA Live on Sega. So I would come to the crib, man, and hang out with him, and we'd play video games. And he had a chef and food all laid out. But yeah, Jalen's a funny person. He comes off like Kenny very naturally. Like a lot of these athletes, man, are stiff. They're very stiff. When it's time to put that, when they see that camera light come on, they turn into a deer in headlights. John, Kenny, Charles, Shaq, they're very natural. They're smooth with it. You know what I mean? They don't suit and tie.
Yeah.
They're very relaxed. And Jalen ain't as funny as John Sally, but he's very natural.
There's someone that's so animated, and I don't know if he'd be good at it or not, but he's so animated. And the way that he's talks, sometimes I think he'd be funny.
Who?
Patrick Beverly. It's a tough one because he's also an asshole, it seems like.
Yeah, I get more asshole than
funny.
anything. Yeah.
But he does have I don't know, there's a sarcastic wit about him that I kind of wonder if it would translate at all.
I know what you mean, but he's that's what I'm saying about Vernon Maxwell. But you'd have to let him be him.
Yeah.
You can't censor him.
Do you think that Inside the NBA would be? Do you think it would have made it and still been as popular today if Shaq didn't join? Or do you think Shaq? I feel Shaq is like the piece, like the extra piece
The
of turbo.
championship piece.
The championship piece.
He's what they needed to win the chip. They were great contending every year in the playoffs, but to get over the hump, because that dynamic between Shaq and Barkley, and I'm telling you, the way they're positioned,
across
like
the
you got to separate these guys in class because they'll just cut up all day. And east to west, the way they it's beautiful. It's entertaining.
But if one had to go, who would you get rid of? Who would you get rid of to keep it going?
Oh God!
If one was just
Shaq.
like, It has to, yeah.
Yeah, because some of the shit that Barkley says is just gold.
Do you think it's intentional, or is it some of it's just him just talking and it just comes out?
Yeah, I think it just comes out. Like I saw the one clip, I'd never seen it before, when he said, basically was talking about how a team sucked. And he said, man, you guys, he knew he couldn't say, but he said, he goes, man, you guys are. And Ernie was like, oh, Chuckster. You know, it's just, oh my God, man.
Well, Shaq wrote on that paper.
Yeah,
and made him write that out. It's I don't know. I don't know how the censors work on TV, because that wussy is. Let's be honest.
I mean, it is, but it ain't. You know what I'm saying?
What else you got on there?
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
The only other thing I got to say is I love Kenny's thought process when he lost the bet, Barkley, and he had to kiss the ass.
Yeah.
And he goes, he could have kissed it anywhere.
Right,
And
right.
Kenny just doesn't say anything, and then he
Yeah.
just watches Barkley.
Kenny's like a in between. He's not Ernie, but he's not Shaq and Chuck, but he is some of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's a little of each one.
But the extremes are Barkley and Shaq again, which is why their placement on the set is so perfect.
Well, and I think timing-wise, you couldn't have got to you couldn't have had Ernie and then Chuck. It had to be Ernie, Kenny, and then Chuck, and then and then Shaq.
Yeah.
You couldn't have Ernie and then Shaq. That would never have worked out.
Right,
Ernie
right,
and Shaq.
right.
It had to be that order. I think
Yeah.
that's the only way this works.
That's why it
stacked it.
yeah. They just got better with each edition.
But if you would have had just Ernie and his show would have been doing it, and you would have brought Chuck over, I think that wouldn't have flown. It had to be.
There was that one moment, and Charles goes, "Man, I have to apologize about San Antonio. I had churros last night. Woo! Now I see why them women are so big down there. Man, them things are good. Oh my God, come on, man.
And
they be whooping them churros down. How they doing, Chuck? How they be doing it, Chuck? I don't know. And then they slow-mo the camera. So he just double. Oh, it's.
But I love when Ernie goes, he doesn't blame that on Chuck anymore. He blames it on Shaq, because Shaq always brings up San Antonio to get him to do it. So, dude, it's a great show. And it's just people with great personalities talking.
Hey, Kenny, to Chuck. Hey, Chuck, why you won't buy a woman a watch? Because there's a clock on the stove. Oh, my God. Come on, man. Where else would you see that?
That's it.
What is it called?
It's just...
It's on HBO Max, guys.
Yeah, it's
if you want to check it out. It's called. I have it on your
good.
text.
I sent it to you, but I forgot the name of it. It's too close to what the name is.
The Inside Story.
That's why it's a problem.
Yeah, it's called The Inside Story. 4-piece doc, an hour on each person on Max. It's great.
It's definitely worth the watch. All right, you want some dates?
You gotta come up with like a. I mean, since you already do Barkley and Shaq, like some kind of thing, and they'll probably play it.
Or I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, like, they'll probably go viral, and then they'll.
It would have to go. Yeah.
And then they'll just like pick it up and.
Yeah.
Dude, I did like though when they had Keenan Thompson playing Barkley and Barkley played Shaq.
Yeah.
That was.
Wait, but you get that.
That's funny though.
Yeah.
I like that. Barkley's fun, but Barkley takes the risk.
Listen, when an athlete is not, an athlete is not expected to be great at something outside of what they do. So anything that's tongue in cheek, it's fine. But when you are supposed to be the guy at what you do and you don't do it well, I have a problem with that. I'm sorry.
All right, guys. Here's some dates. You know what? I need a theme music to do the dates.
You do?
Everything has a theme, and I don't have a theme for dates.
Well, maybe Mark could come up with something.
Yeah, I need some music.
Mark, did you hear that?
I need some music for my.
We got to come up with some background music when
dates
Andy does the dates.
Yeah. listen, May 22nd through the 25th, we're going to be at the Helium Comedy Club in Buffalo, New York. And then we're doing the we're doing the Canadian swing. May 26th, Bellarose Art Center in Halifax. May 27th, the Olympia in Montreal, Quebec. May 28th, we're at Ottawa, Ontario at Bronson Center for the Arts. May 29th, the Regent Theatre in Oshawa, Ontario. May 30th, Dartforth Music Hall in Toronto, Ontario. May 31st, we're back in the States. The Wilbur Theater, back in Boston. Been a minute, so excited to be back there. June 6th through the 8th, Louisville Comedy Club. June 13th to the 15th, Funny Bone in Omaha. June 19th to the 21st, Wise.
That's your music.
That's not my music.
Yeah,
Just type in copyright free, so we wouldn't get dinged for it.
yeah, no, we'll find it.
I would rather do Barney,
Barney.
the Barney song, than that song right
You
there.
love me like Barney. Oh my God.
June 19th to the 21st, Wise Guys in Vegas. Our first time out at Wise Guys in Vegas. Great club. We'd like the one that's in Salt Lake. And so this is going to be fun to be out there for the first time in Vegas. June 26th to the 28th, Olson Run Comedy Club in Eugene, Oregon. And then July 5th to the Margaritaville Resort and Casino out in Bossier City, Louisiana. That's it, man. That's a show. Got anything?
No, that's a show. I'm glad you guys watch this story on TNT. So that is. Hey, man, make sure y'all watch it. Tune in. It's going to be fantastic.
That's the NBA song sound. It's fantastic.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit spearsburgpod.com.